business ideas they called stupid until they made billions. In 2012, a man named Aaron Krause was standing inside a warehouse in Avondale, Pennsylvania, surrounded by approximately 100,000 foam scrubbers that nobody wanted. He had spent years building a business, filing patents, chasing corporate partnerships, and every single door had been closed in his face. The products sitting in those boxes had been declared worthless by one of the most powerful material science corporations on the planet. It had been dismissed by retail buyers, turned away from grocery chain meetings, and left in storage for 3 years collecting dust. Aaron was 52 years old. His savings were largely tied to a product that, by every conventional metric of the industry, had already failed. Within 12 months of that moment, that same product would sell 1 million units. Within a decade, it would generate nearly $1 billion in cumulative revenue. This is not a story about luck. This is a story about how corporate logic, the very system designed to identify opportunity, almost destroyed one of the most profitable consumer products of the 21st century. The company that walked away from Aaron Krause's invention was not a small regional distributor. It was 3M, the corporation behind Post-it notes, Scotch tape, and hundreds of products now considered indispensable to modern life. 3M had annual revenue exceeding $30 billion. It employed tens of thousands of researchers and product development specialists. If any organization on Earth had the institutional infrastructure to recognize a novel consumer product, it was them. And they did not miss this product because of incompetence. They missed it because of something far more systemic, a failure mode that affects nearly every large corporation at its peak. The inability to evaluate ideas that do not fit existing category logic. The problem was never the scrubber. The problem was that the scrubber did not look like what a scrubber was supposed to look like, did not behave the way a scrubber was supposed to behave, and did not target the customer a scrubber was supposed to target. In the world of corporate product development, when something cannot be mapped to an existing category, it is treated as noise. What Aaron Krause had invented was not noise. It was a signal the entire cleaning products industry was structurally incapable of hearing. Aaron Krause did not start out trying to reinvent the sponge. In the early 2000s, he was running a car detailing company called Dedication to Detail, based in Pennsylvania. He was methodical, technically precise, respected in his industry. His clients trusted him with their vehicles, and he took pride in the quality of his work. Like most tradespeople, he had a recurring frustration with tools that failed to perform the way the job demanded. The buffing pads used in automotive detailing left chemical residue on his hands, and the cleaning products available on the market were either too harsh or too ineffective to remove it without damaging his skin. So he did what problem solvers do. He began experimenting with materials on his own. He designed a foam scrubber capable of cleaning his hands after long detailing sessions without causing irritation. It was a niche industrial solution to a niche industrial problem. He was not thinking about retail shelves. He was not thinking about television. He was thinking about the end of a workday and the condition of his hands. He filed patents on the scrubber design and eventually approached 3M with the idea of selling the intellectual property. 3M evaluated it, concluded the product had no significant market opportunity, and declined. Aaron, navigating a broader business transition at the time, sold his car detailing operation to 3M, but retained the scrubber patents because 3M had no interest in them. The pads went into storage. 3 years passed. And then, on an unremarkable afternoon, Aaron was cleaning outdoor furniture on his patio. He reached for one of the old foam scrubbers from storage, and he noticed something that had not registered before. When he ran cold water over the foam, it stiffened. When he switched to warm water, it softened. The same scrubber, in the same hand, behaved like two completely different tools depending on the temperature of the water. Aaron had engineered a thermally responsive cleaning pad without fully realizing what he had done. The invention had not changed. His understanding of it had. He had not invented it once. He had discovered it twice. Before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Armed with this discovery, Aaron began redesigning the product for a consumer audience. He gave it a distinctive yellow color for shelf visibility. He cut a smiley face into the center of the foam, not as decoration, but because the two eye-shaped holes functioned as scrubbing surfaces and the curved smile served as a natural grip point. The design was entirely functional, but it looked playful, and in the cleaning products aisle, playful had always been treated as a liability. Aaron took the product to grocery chain buyers. The meetings followed a pattern. Buyers looked at the smiling foam scrubber, considered the category they were responsible for, and concluded, sometimes without saying it directly, that this was not what their customers expected from a cleaning tool. Cleaning was a serious category. The products that sold in it looked efficient, clinical, purposeful. A bright yellow sponge with a face looked like a children's toy. Buyer after buyer declined. The feedback was consistent enough that a less determined person would have concluded the buyers were right. Aaron concluded the opposite. He applied to appear on Shark Tank, ABC's investor competition program, and was accepted for Season 4 in 2012. The pitch was direct. A scrubber that changed texture with water temperature, outperformed standard sponges in durability, and left no scratches on delicate surfaces. Kevin O'Leary, the investor known for financial conservatism and categorical thinking, was skeptical almost immediately. The product seemed too simple. The category was crowded. O'Leary's evaluation, like the retail buyers before him, measured the pitch against the existing sponge market. And against that benchmark, the margins and differentiation were difficult to justify. Sitting at the same table, however, was Lori Grainer, who had built her career not solely on investment, but on understanding what performs on television. Grainer looked at the scrubber and identified something the buyers and O'Leary had not: a demonstration product. A product whose value would become self-evident the moment a viewer watched it perform live on camera, in a way that no retail shelf placement ever could achieve. She offered Aaron $200,000 for a 20% equity stake. He accepted. The Grainer partnership meant access to QVC, the home shopping television network that had made and ended product companies for decades. QVC's model was unambiguous. Products were demonstrated live to a national viewing audience, a countdown clock ran, and sales were measured in real time. For the right product, QVC was the most efficient sales mechanism in American retail. For the wrong product, it was a public and financially catastrophic failure with no second broadcast. Aaron and his team prepared their inventory run. The volume they committed to was substantial. If the broadcast underperformed, the financial exposure was severe. There was no corporate parent absorbing the downside. It was a small, undercapitalized company betting its survival on a product the entire retail establishment had already rejected. The QVC broadcast aired. In 7 minutes, 42,000 units of Scrub Daddy sold out completely. Requests continued flooding in after the inventory was gone. The company website went down under the traffic. QVC placed a reorder call before the segment had finished airing. Aaron Krause had produced one of the strongest single-product debuts in QVC's recorded history. And then, the grocery chain buyers who had declined the product began calling. The retail organizations that had determined a smiling yellow sponge did not belong in their cleaning aisle were now requesting meetings, offering shelf placements, and negotiating terms they had previously withheld. The product had not changed. The consumer psychology had not changed. What changed was that the buyers now had a number, 42,000 units in 7 minutes, that translated cleanly into the only language corporate retail actually spoke. The product had bypassed the gatekeepers entirely, gone directly to the consumer, and returned with proof. The standard framing of this story positions it as a small inventor defeating a corporate machine. That framing is emotionally satisfying, but it obscures what actually happened at a structural level. 3M did not miss a sponge. They missed a category redefinition. Aaron Krause's product was not competing with other sponges on the cleaning aisle shelf. It was addressing a consumer behavior that did not yet have a product attached to it. The desire for a cleaning tool durable enough to justify a higher price point, gentle enough for use on nonstick cookware, and distinctive enough to produce a moment of genuine satisfaction in an otherwise entirely functional domestic task. No product in the cleaning category had ever attempted to deliver that last element. The category assumption, decades deep, was that cleaning was a chore, and the tools of a chore should look and feel like tools. Scrub Daddy violated that assumption without ever articulating it. The smile on the product was not a marketing decision layered on top of the engineering. It was the product communicating its own emotional register to the consumer before they had picked it up, before they had read a single word of packaging copy. By 2024, Scrub Daddy had generated cumulative sales approaching $1 billion. The product had expanded into an entire brand ecosystem, multiple scrubber variations, cleaning solutions, accessories, and licensed merchandise. It had become a retail staple in major chains across North America and Europe, available in stores that had once rejected it outright. The company had outlasted most of the institutional skeptics who dismissed it in its earliest years. And 3M, the corporation that declined to purchase the original patent for a product it could not categorize, had watched a competitor build nearly $1 billion in revenue from intellectual property it had once evaluated, held in its hands, and released. The Scrub Daddy story is not, at its core, about a sponge. It is about the structural blindness that institutional scale creates. When a corporation becomes large enough, it develops category logic. Internal frameworks for determining whether a new idea fits the existing architecture of the market it operates in. That logic is not irrational. It is the accumulated product of real commercial experience, and it works reliably for incremental innovation. But for ideas that redefine rather than refine, ideas that propose a new category rather than a better version of an existing one, category logic functions as a filter that eliminates exactly the opportunities it was built to capture. Aaron Krause succeeded not because he was more talented than 3M's product development teams. He succeeded because he was outside the system entirely. He had no category logic to override. He was free to observe what the product actually did, rather than what the market expected it to do. And that freedom, which from the outside looked like disadvantage, like the absence of resources and infrastructure and institutional backing, turned out to be the only competitive advantage that mattered. What's your take on this? Comment below. I'm reading every single one. If this story resonated with you, hit the like and send it to someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more videos like this, check out the previous videos on the channel.